All right, so for this week's assignment, I'm going to be interviewing someone who is very near and dear to my heart, who just happens to be the biggest Harry Potter buff that I personally know. Just so happens to be my husband, Matthew Morrow.
Hello.
Thank you for doing this for me. I really appreciate it. So, tell me a little bit about how you got into Harry Potter and how it impacted you as you grew up during your childhood.
So I started reading Harry Potter in first grade. Truly fell in love with it when the last book came out and when I was in fifth grade. And it's really just impacted every day of my life just because of the lessons I've learned from it. And it's a fantastic story.
To kind of follow up with that, what would you say, what lessons did it really help you learn as you were growing up, going from elementary to middle and high school? Like, was there anything that really stood out to you within the series as you were getting older, as you were tackling all these new life things as a child?
Just focusing on the important things in life, family, friends, people being there through you through the hard times, really focusing on love. I think this is the most important part of the story, and just really focusing on that as you grow up and making sure it becomes a focal point of your life.
I have to ask just because I'm curious to know. What was your favorite book as a kid reading that you would read over and over again as a kid?
Probably as a kid, I would say Philosopher's Stone, just because it's the first book. It's the best to get into, and it's the most rereadable one. And it's getting into the world, so I'd say it's probably my favorite, even almost to the day.
Awesome. All right. So now, obviously, you're much older, and obviously, as an adult, you still is very near and dear to your heart. But obviously, you've taken a liking to the universe of Harry Potter in a different way, or in various other ways. Kind of elaborate on how it's impacted your life as an adult and how you continue to still immerse yourself in this world as you've gotten older.
So I guess as I've been an adult, it's just let me do more things. Mostly I've gotten into collecting, whether it be the books, wands, different things from the movie, collecting different movie memorabilia, different special books. And again, I think still with the story in general, it just makes me happy. So whenever I need to pick me up, that's how it impacts my life. Just making my day better by reading it.
Is there something that you currently possess that you would say is probably your favorite collector's item or collectible, whether it's a specific book with a specific, artwork, or is there an item that you possess that you just really, really love and is above everything else as of right now on your list that you have?
As far as at least for items, I have Ravenclaw's item. I'm a Ravenclaw, so I love that. As well as my Nimbus 2000 replica we've got made of real wood. I love that thing. And then as far as books, I would say just the original copy of Philosopher's Stone that I have, like the first original printing artwork from Britain. I love it.
Awesome. Alrighty. So, main reason why I wanted to kind of interview today, I really wanted to get your opinion on, as we know, there's a lot of, people who rely on this universe, whether young, old, this universe has a massive impact on the masses. And someone who is a part of the cinematic universe, Professor Sprout, as we all know, professor of herbology, who is played by Miriam Margoyle, excuse me, I believe I said that correctly. She said some things here recently that I'm very curious to understand your perspective on, as someone who is obviously very much immersed with the universe still to this day. But recently she's made some statements about as people have gotten older regarding adults' involvement in Harry Potter. And to quote, she recently was saying things along the lines of, "I worry about Harry Potter fans because they should be over that by now." And another statement being, "I just think it's for children, and if your balls have dropped, then it's time to forget about it." Now, I'm very curious to understand your perspective on, obviously, like I mentioned before, and as you've clearly stated, Harry Potter has a very near and dear place in your heart for very good reasons. What is your first impression off of that perspective, especially someone who's obviously very much involved with the franchise.
I can understand some of where she's coming from, but ultimately, in my personal opinion, I don't see it as a children's story. Just because the story is for everyone. It grows with you. There's good lessons to be learned from it, no matter if you're an adult or a child. There's different things you can be learned from it if you continue reading it and continue to be a part of the world. Yes, I'm sure some people might feel they're, as she has said, too much of an intellectual snob for it, but at the end of the day, we all have things that we really enjoy. What hers might be, I'm not sure. But I'm sure she read something or saw something as a young adult or a child that she loves to this day. We all have something we enjoy and something we take very much inspiration for in our lives. And for a lot of people, Harry Potter is that one thing. Again, there's a lot of lessons to be learned for adults and children, and nothing is specifically made for just children to learn that adults can't relearn or continue to learn.
And I think that's a very interesting point that you brought up there, and I want to understand maybe your thoughts on this too. I'm curious to know, and again, I don't know her personally, so this is obviously coming from a place where I don't have the knowledge on this, but I wonder if the perspective of her playing a role in a cinematic space, I wonder if, because I know you obviously very well in the sense of that the books obviously hold a lot more value to you than the movies do, and I wonder, and you can elaborate on this point of or this point of view. I wonder if she is coming from a place from a cinematic lens, or I wonder if because maybe she hasn't read the books, there may not be as much value to her. I'm curious if there's something that you could elaborate there with that. If there's any difference in between the two, and maybe that's why she has a stance that's pointed in that direction. Maybe.
From my understanding, she hasn't watched the movies or read the books, so I'm assuming she has no idea what the actual story is about because she just sees it as a children's story and I guess refuses to read or partake in it, which that is her choice. That is everyone's choice. However, I think if she actually took the time to read it, she would understand there's actual values to be learned from it, even from the movies themselves, which I understand she's in some of them, not important enough to be in a lot of them. But maybe if she took some time to maybe understand the story and really get what the messages are behind it, she would see that it does have a lot of intellectual things that you can learn as an adult.
Alrighty, well, I think that's a very interesting point of view, and again, no better person to ask than someone who is as immersed in the universe as yourself. Thank you again for taking the time to do this for me. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.